Welcome to the Avail Podcast, where we dig deep and talk about the art of leadership. My name is Virgil Sierra, and today we're speaking with Avail co-founder Sam Chan about his newest book, Ladder Leaders: The Team, the Task, the Transition. We'll learn about some of the key leadership principles from this book and lean into Sam's wisdom regarding how to achieve success in leadership. Let's get started. Dr. Sam Chan, we're so pumped and excited to be here with you. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing amazing. And Virgil, I love your energy, man. You make everybody just come alive. And I thank you. What a gift you are to Avail, to the kingdom of God. And you do this with so many people. And you are really just a blessing to the kingdom. And thank you for having me today.
Gracias, amigo. Thank you so much. I feel honored to be a part of this team along with you, the amazing team on Avail. You know, Sam, it's awesome for us to see what God has done in your life, but it's more awesome to see what he's doing. And those of us who have the privilege and blessing to get a little closer to you, to see all that's coming, because there's so much vision that God has put on your heart and your family's hearts. And of course, in the center of everything that is Avail, everything that is Sam Chan leadership. And of course, one of the things that's always kind of at your fingertips is the books you're writing. And I really love the fact that when the Lord puts something on your heart, you're quick, you're effective, and you put something out. So we're here to talk about your new book, which is Ladder Leaders. I'm excited to delve into it. Ladder Leaders, the subtitle is The Team, the Task, the Transition. Can you talk to us a little bit about just the heart behind the why for this book?
One of the things that I love to do, and everybody who reads me, this is, I think, my 23rd book. Well, everybody who reads me knows that I like to break things down into practical and simple application. So the practicality of leadership has been missing for a while. And I just want to make sure that we're not just talking theoretical, which is good, philosophical, which is good, thought leadership, which is wonderful because it starts there. But sooner or later, it's got to meet the road where we are really living and working and leading others. So practical leadership and simple leadership. So whenever I'm writing a book, Virgil, I am wanting my reader to have two thoughts. I want my reader to have two simple thoughts. Thought number one is, this is simple. There's nothing profound about this. It's not deep. This is simple. I want people to say that. This is simple. There's nothing complicated or profound about it. The second thing I want people to say is, I can teach this. I don't need no Sam Chan or Virgil Sierra or anybody else to come and teach it. I can teach this. So all of my books are written with that in mind. And that is where Ladder Leaders is one of my books in which I poured myself, helping people see that it is simple, it is teachable for yourself and for others. So that is the heart behind what I'm doing here.
That's so good. You know, and what you said right now is so true. I find your teachings and your books and the message that you bring, I find it so practical and so easy to redeliver. And I'll tell you, my staff team they've been beneficiaries of me redelivering that. And even our church, in Spanish, hearing some of the messages, which is part of my heart. I know it's your heart, getting leadership resources to Spanish-speaking pastors and leaders around the world. All right, so let's dive deep into Ladder Leaders, Sam. Specifically, what is a ladder leader? Are ladder leaders easy to find? Are they few and far in between? Talk to us about that.
Oh, yes. So years ago, I wrote a book called Who's Holding Your Ladder? Many of you might have read it, heard about it. It just became a global bestseller for me. And it was a self-published book. So it's not like a big publishing house picked it up. I put my own resources into it. And it was a self-published book and gone through many, many different iterations. The book has remained the same, but the covers have changed and so on and so forth. And that's where the seminal thought about ladder leaders started. So if you are climbing a ladder and you're working up the ladder, you're painting on top of a ladder, you're fixing something on top of a ladder, you know, your ascent up the ladder is really controlled by who's holding your ladder. If nobody's holding your ladder, you can go only so high. Your sense of confidence, your trust in yourself or the ladder, and everything becomes compromised. So ladder leaders are those who are climbing ladders, who are holding other people's ladders, who are inviting people to climb their ladders, because all of us in our life are ladder climbers and ladder holders. So for example, the team that is so busy behind the scenes to make sure that this webinar that's coming to you right now is brought to you with clarity, with no technicality, with all the slides coming in at the right time, going out the right time, you know, everything like that. They are my ladder holders right now. I can have the best content. I can write all the books, but for me to get to you, for me to be able to communicate this book and the content of this to you, I cannot do that. I have to have ladder holders. But not only do I have ladder holders, I'm other people's ladder holder as they're climbing up their things, and they ask me to do this, or they ask me to speak there. Or so whenever I'm in, for example, Virgil, whenever I'm invited to go speak somewhere, I'm not thinking about, oh, that's about me. Oh, no, 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 no. That's about the inviter's vision. They have a vision as to what that event could look like. They think that Sam Chand can help them with that event. And so when I'm going there, I'm not the ladder climber. They are the ladder climber, and I'm holding their ladder. So the ladder leaders are people who are climbing and helping other people climb, holding other people's ladders while somebody else is holding the ladder. If you can get that picture in your mind, you'll be just fine. And part of your question was, how difficult is it to find ladder leaders? It's really not difficult once people understand that it is both. It is not like I'm the leader and you're the follower, because every leader is also a follower. And once you understand those dynamics, then you're not just projecting yourself, I'm the leader, you're the follower, but saying we're all leaders, we're all followers. And that is what makes ladder leaders easier to gain, rather than I'm the ladder climber, you're the ladder holder. No, we're all climbing and holding at the same time.
I love that. I love what you just said, Sam, because I think it's an easy mistake to fall into, where we think it's all about being the ladder climber. And one thing I've learned about you and from you is that the best ladder climbers are usually the best ladder holders. Totally. And you're not in one position. I'm also hearing here. Okay, before I jump into this, you might be connecting right now because you were a little bit late getting on, or you forgot, you saw the email. We are on a live call webinar with Dr. Sam Chand. We're talking about his new book, Ladder Leaders. Okay, so what I'm hearing from you, Sam, is that to be a ladder leader, this is not a solo sport. This is not an issue about just me, myself, and I. The first aspect of ladder leaders in your book is the team, right? You talk about the principle of discovering, developing, and deploying leaders. Talk about this responsibility and how important it is.
Absolutely. So leadership can be lonely if you're trying to do it yourself.
Yeah.
Now, leadership can be isolating. I know that much, because you make decisions that a lot of times nobody else understands. You have visionary thoughts that only you have right now, and you got to bring other people along with you. So in those senses, it can be isolating, but you don't have to live in isolation, because even if no one's holding my ladder, I can look around and hold somebody else's ladder. I mean, all you got to do is to look around and say, who can I help today? Who can I encourage today, and just send them a text message? Whose book can I promote today? Whose program can I promote? Who can I help today? Rather than who can help me today? And the more you help, the Bible says whatsoever you sow, you will also reap. So when you sow helping others, when you sow encouraging others, when you sow holding other people's ladders, God will do the same thing for you. So you have been here listening to me too long to be able to tell me the 3 words: discover, develop, deploy. So anybody who's heard me, I mean, New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, Nigeria, South America, Central America, North America, Europe, doesn't matter where you go, India, doesn't matter where you go. Everybody's heard me talk about discover, develop, deploy. I have friends, Virgil, who say, when will you get a 4th D in there? I said, well, there's no such thing as 4D. It's only as 3D. 3D. So discover, develop, deploy. That's how life is. Somebody discovered you. Somebody developed you. Somebody deployed you. Somebody discovered me. Somebody developed me. Somebody deployed me. So the question is, do we have a discovery process? How do we discover leaders around us? And then what is the development plan? Do we actually know how to develop? In part of my book, where under the task, I talk about areas that you have to develop people in. And once you have developed people, do you really have room to deploy them? Unfortunately, especially in the church world, we are good about discovering, well, kind of, sort of, but we're good about developing, well, kind of, sort of, but we're terrible about deploying.
Yeah.
We have race horses who never enter the race because the other people occupying those lanes, and nobody's willing to give up their lane so somebody else can come in there. So there are all kinds of dynamics there. But I think the job description of every ladder holder and every ladder climber is, you got to discover other people, you got to develop other people, and you got to deploy other people.
I love this, and I love the way you teach it, Sam, the way you write about it in this book, Ladder Leaders, because it really helps you understand and realize you can do this. This is not an out of our hands, only certain people can do it, right? Because sometimes I think some people feel like, I can't do that. I can't do what Sam Chan does. I can't do.
Yeah. So I think let me make it easier for you. Let me make it even easier for you. I'll give you the model that Jesus used. You ready? The 4-step model, 4-step model to discover, develop, deploy. Step number 1, Jesus says to his disciples, I do it, you watch. Step number 1, I do it, you watch. Step number 2, let's do it together. Step number 3, you do it and I watch. Step number 4, you're on your own, you're deployed. That's what he did with the disciples. Step number 1, he said, let me do it and you watch. Step number 2 was, let's do it together. Step number 3 was, you do it and I'll watch. And then in Acts chapter 1, he said, bye-bye, you're on your own. You're deployed, I'll send you the Holy Spirit, but you're on your own and you'll be fine. And I think that is how that works. So I'll give you an example. Let's just say you're a greeter at the church door. Let's just say you are a teacher in your ministry. Let's just say you are a sound tech, whatever you might be, a worship leader. So step number 1 will be, let me do it and you be my apprentice, just watch. Step number 2 will be, okay, I'm in the sound booth with you. Let's do this thing together. Step number 3 is, okay, you do it and I'll just kind of step back here and watch and maybe give you a hint here and there. But then sooner or later, you got to say, you got to fly on your own. And I think in corporate America, as well as in church, doesn't matter where you're at, I see people again and again not being able to release people. Yeah. And I think as a leader, the best thing you do for somebody else is to release them. Take a risk with them. Will they mess up? Yeah. Will they make mistakes? Yes. Will they make poor judgments? Yes. But didn't you? So don't think like you've been perfect from the day that you kind of stepped out on your own. Be that person who is known to release people. And once you release people, you will know how good God has been to you and how good that others have been to you, how somebody believed in you. So when you discover somebody, when you develop somebody, when you deploy somebody, you're giving them the greatest gift one human being can give to the other. Can I tell you what the greatest gift one human being gives to the other? Believe in them. That's the greatest gift.
That's good.
You give that to your children? I hope so. You definitely give it to your grandchildren. No doubt about that. So when one human being believes in another. That is how people get married.
Yeah.
One human being believes in another human being. That's why people buy from you if you're selling a product in your business. One person believes in you. That's how people join your church. One person believes in you. The greatest gift one human being gives to another is to believe in them. And that happens when you discover, develop, deploy.
Woo! Talking about the team, everybody. Hey, if you're joining us just recently, we're here on a live call webinar with Sam Chan. We're talking about the book of the month here on Avail, which is Ladder Leaders, the team, the task, the transition. In a few moments, we're going to be letting some of you know how you can get this book for free. If you're not yet connected to Avail, we're going to let you know in a few moments. And if you are on Avail already and subscribing to the journal, we have some few goodies that we want you to know about. Okay, Sam, so this personally, this intrigues me and it impassions me because I'm all about leadership. I'm like you. I want to be a better leader. I want to raise up better leaders. You talked a little bit about the team. Let's go a little bit now in the task. You know, in your book, you break down multiple issues and principles of leadership that we need to be conscious about. Things like focus, communication, decision making, right? In addition to a bunch more. What are a few, I guess, specific principles or traits or areas that you see leaders consistently struggling with?
So in this book, Ladder Leaders, under the section, the task. So I've got 3 sections in the book. Mm-hmm. The team, we just got through talking about that. Now we're talking about the task. Under that, I have items that talk about such as focus, communication, internal, external, up, down, decision-making. All you leaders are making decisions. Change and transition, there's a difference between the two. Conflict. Which one of us doesn't have that? If you're in traffic, you have conflict. Yeah. You're trying to return a merchandise without a receipt, you got conflict. Yes. Facebook can create conflict. I mean, it is just how it goes. Alignment of your resources, of your vision, of your people, of your outcome. Money is an important thing. How to handle finances. Delegation, how to do leadership through other people. Execution, how to get things done and how to help others get done. And then future thinking is about your legacy. So these are items that are put in there that doesn't matter who you are. If you're a homemaker or you're CEO of a Fortune 10 company, you will deal with focus, communication, decision-making, change and transition, conflict, alignment, money, delegation, execution, and future thinking. You will face those 10 things. So I put them in here. This is your task. And here, can I tell you something about these 10 tasks? You will never, ever complete or overcome these tasks. It's not like, well, I'm done communicating. Well, I'm never going to have conflict again. Well, I never have to realign my priorities or my resources again. Well, you know, my finances are taken care of. I'll never have to deal with that again. So these are not things that you have boxes that you check off, check, done, done, done. Or I am beyond that, or don't ever talk to me about it. So it doesn't matter who you are, wherever you are in life, be it me, Virgil, or anybody in this ecosystem that's watching us right now, because I know people right now are waking up in the middle of the night in Philippines and New Zealand to watch this live webinar. I know that because they tell me that. Yeah, it's crazy, but they tell me that. So these 10 tasks are never ending tasks. And therefore, they take on a different complexity, they take on a different weightiness, they have different consequences attached to them depending on the item that we're dealing with. So, yep, I talk about those specific things in there so people will at least have an understanding of how to deal with it.
That's awesome. Everybody who's connected right now, who's watching this, leaning in, we're here on our live call webinar of the month here on Avail. We're talking about Sam Chan's new book. I'm a big fan, Sam. I gotta admit it. Ladder Leaders. I love this. I love this topic. We're talking about the second portion, right? It's the team, the task, the transition. So now the task, you were just talking about the different things you talk about. Out of those things, Sam, what's one or two of them that a lot of people have a lot of trouble with? Because sometimes there's two or three that just consistently people have a hard time with.
Before I answer that question, can I break protocol and ask our live viewers right now to do us a favor?
Yes.
Will they just tell us where they are watching us from? Johannesburg, South Africa, Chicago, Illinois, Winnipeg, Canada, Lima, Peru,
Bogota, Colombia.
Bogota, Colombia. Oh, sorry, I forgot that. Delhi, India, Calcutta, Sydney, Australia, Auckland, New Zealand, Lagos, Nigeria, London, UK. So just put that in there. Put that in there. Now, there are two of them, which would be the first one and the 10th one, that I think I find most consequential. And it's hard to get your head around that. You can get your heart around that, but your head is in a different place. The first one is focus. And the last one is future thinking. So let me just say 30 seconds, maybe 45 on each one of them. Focus. It is hard to keep focus. It is easy to get focus. It is hard to stay focused. It is hard to keep your head in the game and not get distracted. I was just talking about this the other day with my daughter, Debbie, and we were talking about the tyranny of the urgency, how the urgent is always pushing the important out. And that's why, we have cliches such as, well, instead of working on your business, why don't you work in your business? I get that. But you know why we are having that conversation? Because the tyranny, the urgency, the urgent is pushing the important out of the picture. And what's going on there is that we are losing focus. So I talk to organizations all the time in which people in the organization will say things like, we start things all the time. We start stuff all the time, but we never really keep up with stuff. There's no sustainability. Our leader is a great visionary. This is how they describe the leader. She is a great visionary. He is a great visionary. But they have so much vision that we have to keep changing all the time. Basically, what they're saying is there's no focus. I mean, what we would like if today you start a coffee shop and tomorrow you turn it into a grocery store, and then you turn it into a bookstore, and then you're selling shoes out of that, you lose focus. The last one, there are two that you asked for, so I'll just give you two.
Sure.
Is the last one on that list, which is basically future. So here's the table of contents, and it is future thinking. Future thinking says this: if you live long enough, you'll be old. Yeah, that's a profound statement for this webinar, right? If you live, I don't know where that came from. If you live long enough, you will be old. And when you're old, you're going to start thinking about two words: inheritance and legacy. Inheritance and legacy. Now, there's a difference between the two, Virgil. Yeah. Inheritance is what you're going to leave behind. Legacy is who you're going to leave behind. So when you die, that great TV screen on the back that was showing us amazing pictures from all over the world a minute ago, that's inheritance. That wonderful couch with those pillows, inheritance. Your house, inheritance. Your car's inheritance. Your money, inheritance. Your life insurance, inheritance. All that is inheritance. Legacy is who you're going to leave behind. Who are the people for whom you held the ladder? Who are the people going to show up at your funeral and say, had it not been for your name in that blank, I wouldn't be here today. She, he saved my life. She, he called purpose out of me. She, he discovered, developed, and deployed me. They gave me meaning for living. So what you're going to leave behind is inheritance. Nothing wrong with that. Please, please, please do accumulate all you can accumulate. You know, in my house, there's a joke. Whenever we are, my wife and I are doing something to fix up our house, like redoing a bathroom or getting new furniture or whatever, whenever Virgil, we're doing something, our two daughters say, thank you. That's our house. You can fix our house all you want to. So that's
the what.
Yeah, but legacy is who you're going to leave behind. So my question for all of our listeners right now is, who are you intentionally pouring yourself into? Who are you developing with nothing that'll come back to you? So it's not like, now there's a difference between if I'm a pastor of a church and I'm developing you, but I'm developing you to serve me and my vision in this church, well, that has to it. But if you're developing somebody just to developing them, with no reciprocity and nothing returned, that's the motivation I'm talking about. So anyhow, you asked me for two things, focus and future thinking. Focus, easy to get, hard to keep. Future thinking is about legacy and inheritance. And I'm going to suggest leave both, inheritance and legacy.
So good, so good. Wow, this is good. I hope everybody right now, you're getting a lot. In fact, right now in the chat, let us know what little nugget has so far. I think there's more coming, but what little nugget has caught your attention? So let us know in the chat. I think we're going to find out that we have a lot in common here. Has it been the part on the team, discovering, developing, deploying leaders? Has it been this part maybe on the task, the focus, the future readiness, the legacy, the communication, the decision? What's caught your attention? What has been the nugget so far? Also, put a high 10 or a cool, happy face if you're having a good time. I'm having a good time here on this live call webinar with Sam Chand, talking about his new book, Ladder Leaders: The Team, the Task, and the Transition. Here's what I want to do, Sam. Before we talk a little bit about the transition and talk a little bit about just your thoughts. And I know this is on your heart. I know this is something important for you that leaders need to be thinking about. Before we do that, I want to ask our Avail team, if you can just help us out in the chat right now. And I want you to put the link, and here's the link you're going to get. You're going to get the link that's going to show you how you can get Sam Chand's book for free. We're talking about the new book, Ladder Leaders. When you click on this link that our Avail team is putting up right now, you're going to be able to get the book of the month, Ladder Leaders, for free. If you're not yet an Avail subscriber, you can get the book for free. Plus, you're going to get 180 days. That's 6 months free of the Avail Journal. Our Avail Journal, by the way, we're going to talk more about this a little bit ahead, but our Avail Journal is awesome. Yours truly here, Dr. Sam Chand on that cover. One of the best resources for Christian and marketplace leaders today. We'll talk about that a little later. You'll get 6 months of the Avail Journal. You'll get Sam's new book, Ladder Leaders, for free. All you got to cover shipping and handling. You'll see it on the link on the page right when you click on the link. And by the way, can I highly suggest what to me is a no-brainer? The Masterclass upgrade. When you select the Masterclass upgrade, not only are you going to get Dr. Sam Chand's new book, Ladder Leaders, but you're going to have access to some videos, the Masterclass videos that go along with this book. And you're going to be able to actually go delve deeper into this whole topic of the team, the task, and the transition. Where, you ask? Right here on the link that our Avail team is putting in the chat. Take advantage, click on that link. By the way, we are not selfish here at Avail. We like it when you share this offer. So you can copy that link, share it to your friends, your pastor friends, your leadership friends, ministry people that you serve with, that you work with. If you know a leader in your community who could benefit from these leadership principles, share the link with them. Because if they're not yet on Avail, they're going to be able to get the book for free. They're going to get some Avail journals for free as part of this special offer. And They can also choose to upgrade to the Masterclass bundle, which I highly recommend the Masterclass bundle, because you'll have access to some videos, you have access to the book, and go a little deeper in your study. All right, we're going to come back to that in a little bit. Dr. Sam Chan, let's talk a little bit about the third aspect, the third rung of this book, which is the transition. Can you talk to us a little bit of, I know that part of the terminology that you use is that there's an external transition, there's internal transition. And I know that this is something that's heavy on your heart for the church and for leaders to think about, the whole concept of transition.
Everybody, no matter how old you are, how young you are, is in transition. I'm in transition. You're in transition, Virgil.
Mm-hmm.
We are all in transition. Because if you're not in transition, you're saying to me, I'm not dynamic. There's no movement in my life. Nothing new is happening in my life.
Mm.
I'm not going anywhere. I'm not doing anything. I'm not being anything. I'm a static person. I'm not in transition. I'm the same yesterday, today, and forever. You are in transition. I'm in transition. And most people don't recognize transition, don't plan for transition. In the book that we're talking about right now on Ladder Leaders, the last rung here is what we call the transition. The first one was the team, the task, the transition. And just to tee up what I want to talk about is the table of contents, part 3 over here. Mm-hmm. So here are some of the things we talk about in there. Discontent and discernment. Discontent. And so let me just pause on each one of them and maybe say 10 seconds. Mm-hmm. That way it'll stay fresh. The discontentment you might be feeling right now, that, I call it the funky feeling. Something is going on in the inside of you. You just don't know what's going on, but something is going on inside of you. And you got to have discernment that God always uses that restlessness, the thing that's going on, to at least get your attention to start thinking about what might be happening. Values and passion. Your values remain the same, but your passions shift. My values are the same. Integrity, honesty, respect, so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. Same as you. Your values are the same. Mm-hmm. But then what happens is that your passions start shifting. Right now, my passion is to create content, influence influencers, and I'm really passionate about getting my books and resources into the Spanish-speaking world, all over the world. So Lord is allowing me to do that. Probably 11, 12 of my books have been translated into Spanish. All of them, my videos are dubbed in Spanish. God brought Virgil Sierra that you're watching right now, who is bilingual. And of course, he has great connections there. So my heart is so that is my passion. That's what's driving me there. Wise counsel is another topic in here. I remember when I was president of a university in Atlanta, and I was preparing to transition from there, resign from there to do what I do now. Back in 2003, I talked to 19 people, 19 counselors. So how do you get wise counsel? And then the next point, bullet point here is desire and timing. You can have a desire, but the timing is not mismatched. It can be mismatched. The timing has to be right. Paul says about the coming of Jesus in the fullness of time.
Yeah.
And so your desires and timing have to be congruent. Internal transition and external transition. Internal transitions before external transition. So that simply means that there's stuff going on inside of me before I can start seeing manifestation on the outside. And the last chapter under that is what I call the ladder to legacy. Ladder to legacy says, you have lived your life by design thus far. What do you want to conclude by default? That simply means that you have lived your life on purpose. You lived your life by design. You've lived your life by plan. You don't want to exit your present role or even this planet by default, just by accident, to say like, whoop, okay, I'm gone. No, you don't have to do that, because you see, all of us are temporary in what we're doing. If the Lord tarries, one day I will be on the other side of the green grass. I'm on the other side. I'm in no hurry to go there, but that is part of life. There was the day I was born, and there's a day that I will exit this planet. But all I'm saying is, if I already know that, why don't I live my life by design? I'll tell you how extreme I am in this, Virgil. If you were to come to my office, my home office, because I work out of my home, if you were to come to my home office, on my desk is my entire funeral totally written.
Wow.
The only thing missing there is the date. even the location of the funeral, the time of the funeral, the order of the funeral, what's going to be said, what scriptures are going to be read, who's going to do what. Now I might revise it, as it could be that you're my friend today, not my friend tomorrow. I'll take you out. Or I might have a best new friend, who knows? But all I'm saying is that, why do I want my funeral to be by default for other people to sit around and plan my funeral when I'm paying for the funeral? I'm not even there, and I'm paying for the funeral. So I want to have my funeral by design, so that whoever gets up and does whatever is because I designed it. That kind of, so I know I'm extreme. I get that. I know not everybody is as morbid as me. There's nothing morbid about it. But some people don't want to deal with end of life issues. So I get that. All I want people to know is, you are in transition. You will always be in transition. Don't let your transition be by default. Make sure it is by design. And that is what this book will do for you. It'll help you with the team, creating the team that you need. It'll help you with the 10 tasks that you'll never get done. Please understand that. I know that's not very encouraging to buy a book and write, because we read books to get us from here to there. But you will deal with it. So if you know that you're going to deal with something, you might as well get prepared for that.
Right.
And then the transition. All of us are in transition. You will transition wherever you're at. Don't leave it up to default. Do it by design. Ladder leaders.
This is awesome. Before we go to some closing comments with our author of the month, Sam Chand, with the book of the month, Ladder Leaders, Avail team, help me put this link back up on the chat right now. Hey, everybody, while our Avail team is putting the link up on the chat, they'll put it a couple times right now. As they're doing that, can you just show some love to Sam Chand here on the chat? Come on, show some love. Show him how much you love him, because he's just like you and I. He loves the affirmation. He loves the love from all of you right now. We know there's so many of you connected from different parts of the country and different parts of the world, whatever time it is right now, wherever you are. We're so thankful for you. We love you. We love you so much that we made plans to have this live call webinar so that we could add value to your life, encourage you in your leadership. Hey, here's the link. It's in the chat right now. That link is going to take you to the deal. What's the deal this month? Hey, if you're not an Avail subscriber yet, you can get Sam's book for free, plus 6 months of the Avail journal for free. It's on us. No questions asked, because we love you. We want to bless you. Take a look at that offer right there on the link. By the way, if I were you, I would take it one step further. I would upgrade to the masterclass bundle, because those masterclass videos are always helpful. The book is always a blessing. It takes you a step closer to hearing Sam's heart on this topic. Man, I love what we're talking about right now. Sam, I know we're going to close off in a few moments, but this book, Ladder Leaders, the team, the task, the transition, kind of a last final thoughts on this. Why do leaders want this book? How's this going to help them in their just everyday leadership?
So I have created these videos, and I want everyone to know, if you upgrade to the masterclass, the purpose of the video. The purpose of the video is that every CEO, director, pastor watching me right now, department leader watching me right now, can show that video to your team.
Yeah.
And the way I've done those videos are excerpted teachings, bullet points, right to the point. I mean, it is just plain meat and potatoes. And so what you can do is you can share those videos and then use them for discussion guides to lead your organization to a higher level. So I wanted everyone to know it's not just videos and a book. Purpose in my heart is to help you with your organization. So if your leaders are reading the book, that's cool. But if you got your staff in the same room, for example, your executive leadership team, your department leaders, your dream team, however you have yourself organized, your volunteers, and you start showing them one video at a time as a teaching lesson. Because the way I have organized the video is that you take the content of the video, content of the book, and tee it off. I'm your leader. That's what I'm doing. So when you upgrade to that, I am actually coming into that room, holding your ladder for you and cheering you on as you build the team, learn the task, and plan your transition.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Avail Podcast with our guest, Sam Chand. Remember, you can connect with Sam by going to samchand.com. For more leadership resources, check us out at theartofleadership.com. And make sure to claim your free annual subscription of the Avail Journal at availjournal.com. As always, I'm your Avail media host, Virgil Sierra. Muchas gracias. Thank you for connecting with us to learn the art of leadership here at the Avail Podcast.